Beer here back in the fantasy bar. The NBA is back, and we are back. Sixth place for you for Big Wednesday night in the association, and we are going happy hour. Nobody over 7,500 on DraftKings or 8K on FanDuel. We got some stacks. We got some values. We got some guys I think are underpriced, and of course, we have my favorite play of the night. Who are we talking about? Belly up to the fantasy bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Wednesday edition and the first NBA six-pack of the season. Beers Daily Fantasy Six-Pack kicking off NBA here on a big Wednesday night. Thank you, as always, for stopping by and checking out the video. If you're an old-timer, you know how we roll. We're going to give you 6 of my favorite plays on FanDuel and DraftKings a couple times a week. If you are new, welcome in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, anyone that's hanging out here in the fantasy bar, hit that tip jar. That is the thumbs up button here on YouTube. Thank you very much for that. And head over to scoresandodds.com/beer. Tons of great sports betting information. And what a better time to be armed with this information. NHL season underway, NBA kicking off, Major League Baseball in their playoffs, and the NFL hitting its stride here, week 7 coming up. So make sure you head over there. Just a wealth of information that you can dig into. And if you don't have time, guess what? Premium picks in all of the different sports. I'll be giving you some of my favorite NFL picks throughout the season, which have been red hot, by the way. So go and check it out today. Scoresandodds.com/beer. All right, big slate of games here tonight. Again, we're going to go happy hour. You're not going to see any of the higher end guys. We want to try to save you some room so you can fit your favorite ceiling play here on tonight's slate. All right, let's get rolling here at point guard with Trey Jones of the Spurs. Now, Jones, one of my favorite buy lows here early in the season. We know DeJounte Murray off to Atlanta, going to leave a ton of usage here for this San Antonio team. And this guy, when he's gotten minutes, has been very solid. We look back to the end of last season. 5 of those games towards the end of the year, he played 30 or more minutes. Guess what? 30 or more fantasy points in each of those games as well. We get anywhere near 30 fantasy points on these salaries at 42 and 5,100. We are in a great spot here tonight. Now, I love this game as well. Both these teams play very fast, very conducive to what we want to do in DFS NBA. Each of these teams was top 7 in possessions per game in 2021. I don't think that changes here this season. Fast-paced game, a guy getting a ton of opportunity, and too cheap. Trey Jones leading us off here tonight. All right, let's stay in that game. Let's go to the other side at point guard, shooting guard with Terry Rozier. Now, we know big injury already for the night. No LaMelo Ball for the Hornets, so that's going to mean usage spread around here to quite a few different pieces. But Terry Rozier being my favorite. When we run the numbers in our Court IQ tool here, which you can find in our premium suite of RotoGrinders tools, which you'll have a chance to win some free premium coming up at the end of the video. But over a 2% usage bump for him, and actually led the Hornets with 1.06 fantasy points per minute without LaMelo Ball in the lineup. These are the kind of things you can run in Court IQ. You know, we mentioned no DeJounte Murray. That makes this matchup much easier for these opposing guards here. So Terry Rozier in a good spot. We mentioned the pace up spot and the usage bump. Get him in those lineups tonight against the San Antonio Spurs. All right, we're not done with that game. One more piece from the San Antonio side. Small forward, power forward, Keldon Johnson. Now, this is a guy I'm expecting to kind of take the reins here for this San Antonio team, develop into the leader, the scoring, the fantasy point leader, everything here under the wings for Keldon Johnson. And we started to see it towards the end of last season. Last 10 games, averaged almost 38 DraftKings points per game. A guy that can do a little bit of everything, and I talk about that a lot. Not the guys that just only score. We want the guys that can score fantasy points in a variety of ways. If that shot isn't falling, they can still get you production in a multitude of ways. Was very good against Charlotte last season. 27 points per game, just scoring 37 fantasy points per game in those 2 matchups here. You're buying low on San Antonio, a ton of value on this team here early in the season. Keldon Johnson, Trey Jones being my favorite here tonight. All right, let's get you a center. Guy that feels very cheap tonight, especially on DraftKings, DeAndre Ayton of Phoenix. Now, these two teams very familiar with each other, coming off a long playoff series here, and I like this matchup for Ayton because Dallas just an undersized team. Don't really have that true center down low, so the rebounds always in play here, and this guy played well against this team. Averaged over 15 points, almost 10 rebounds a game over those 9 games, including the playoffs. 30 DraftKings points or more in 7 of those games. So if that's the floor, and that's what we need at 6,200, about 31 fantasy points, he's been delivering that almost every time with some ceiling games in there as well. And you look at price, lowest price we've seen on DraftKings, you got to go all the way back to early on in the 21 season to find a $6,200 price point on DeAndre Ayton. So these are the opportunities we want to find early in the season. I think he's a great buy low in a solid matchup. DeAndre Ayton, one of my favorite center plays of the night. All right, let's keep the value train rolling at small forward, power forward, with Lauri Markkanen of the Jazz. Now we know this Jazz team in full-on tank mode. Donovan Mitchell shipped off. Rudy Gobert no longer there as well. So this is the Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley show here for the Utah Jazz, amongst others, Kelly Olynyk. So there's going to be a lot of value on this team, but I think there's a lot of unknown here as well that we can certainly take advantage of. I don't see anybody really loading up on the Utah Jazz tonight. I think Markkanen going to be very solid here. We've seen this guy, as long as he can stay healthy and get minutes, be very, very productive. We saw it once again in the preseason, was probably the best player here for the Utah Jazz. And you think this game stays competitive. We talked about those higher end guys we're not going to talk about here today, but Nikola Jokic, clearly one of the best, if not the best plays on this slate here tonight. So a little skinny stack here of Markkanen with Jokic. If you think the Jazz can stay competitive, I do think they can here. That's certainly one that I will utilize here, but Markkanen, too cheap in my opinion. A lot of ways he can get you fantasy points here. Take advantage here tonight against Denver. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play in the NBA for Wednesday night. Before we do that, I promise you there'll be a shot at some free RotoGrinders Premium. We're going to do that right now with our Beast of the Night contest. Very easy to play. All you have to do, get in the comment section right below the video. Make sure you've hit that thumbs up button if you have not already. All you're going to do is guess fantasy points for my Beast of the Night on DraftKings tonight. The closest guess in fantasy points going to win themselves a free week of RotoGrinders Premium. Again, all these sports going on at once. Great time to get in there and check out our premium offerings. Again, fantasy points on DraftKings for my Beast of the Night. And I also want to know, who's your Beast of the Night? Who's your favorite play here on this Wednesday night slate? Sound off in that comment section. All right, let's wrap this baby up. My favorite play for Wednesday night, you know him as the Beast of the Night. All right, Beast time. We're going to stay under our thresholds here in pricing. We're going to go to point guard, shooting guard with Kade Cunningham of Detroit, tonight's Beast of the Night. Now, we talked about it with Keldon Johnson. Obviously, Kade Cunningham has the pedigree, #1 overall pick in the draft, but I think we're going to get to see an even better Kade Cunningham. I'm expecting a big leap here this season. This guy was very good last season. Very fantasy-friendly game. We know he does a little bit of everything, but actually does a lot of everything. A walking triple-double each and every time he takes the floor here. 43 or more DraftKings points in 8 of the last 11 games. So really finished the season strong. Detroit bringing in some pieces. Jaden Ivey, I think, is going to help a ton here for this team. And you look at the pricing, Kade Cunningham was closing in and did have some spots where he was $9,000 on DraftKings. We're paying $7,000 here tonight. So a fantastic, in fact, my favorite buy low when you compare some of the prices to what we saw last season. So get those savings in the lineup. Orlando was terrible against point guards last season. I don't see that changing here this season. A lot of reasons to love Kade Cunningham tonight. Easily my favorite play on the board in tonight's Beast of the Night. All right, guys, that wraps up here for Wednesday night in the Fantasy Bar, talking some NBA, opening up the 2022-23 season here with 6 of my favorite plays on FanDuel and DraftKings. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, please get down in that comment section and sound off. Again, don't forget fantasy points for Kade Cunningham on DraftKings for a shot at some free RotoGrinders Premium. And get me your Beast of the Night. Who's your favorite play here on this big Wednesday night slate? For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out in the bar, supporting the videos. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, check out scoresandodds.com/beer as well. Good luck on the slate tonight. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist